back, Blitz. Number 100. Let's make it a good one. So we're over 2400, which is nice. We're playing a Blitzfan. Let's hope it's not too much of c5. Let's not lose our focus. Okay. He plays knight b5, and we play this. So in this line, I've been playing bishop d7 here, which I vaguely recall as a move from a book by Bd2 on the French. I could be wrong. Now this move, we have queen b6. Actually, this looks like it's a good outpost for the knight, but in actual fact, it's going to be quite easy to dislodge it. I'm hoping for c3 when I think black gets a very good position. Now take it, and I play f5. Now what this does is he can't really take because I take with the rook, and this would be hanging. But now I play knight c6, and then I will very easily get rid of this knight with knight c8, which he kind of has to take, and then I'm already on the c file. And my experience is that this pawn here is kind of the weakest link on the board. Now knight b5, I might have tactics with the knight takes e5 and bishop takes b5, so that's why he's more or less forced to take. Now I'm hoping he will put something on the c file. And once I had a similar game where I made some tactics happen. Right now I'm threatening to take on d4, I think. Okay, he manages to avoid that. Okay. Bishop b8, the plan is simply to put the bishop on h5, undermine the d4 pawn. He might have some clever ideas that I underestimated with rook b3, but okay, I'll play here. And if he takes, at least I get a tempo on his rook, and I have the c file. Most importantly, I have a tie match. Okay, he takes. And rook a3, that gives him a tempo. Well, I could go back and then play bishop h5. I could also play b6 and then b4. Let's just play b6. I do allow bishop a6 though. That's something that I didn't want to do, but we did. Yeah. Kind of felt like I had something there, but it was sort of like almost something. I'm gonna do it like this, I think. Yeah. Now I can play this, or just take. Why not? Kind of like my knight. I mean, if he takes, I don't really like my knight, but I mean, he can't really do anything to me. And I think, okay, it's not ideal, but the time match is going to be decisive in this game. And I think I have more or less everything under control. Yeah, he plays there. I'll simply put my rook on c7, put pressure on this, but it's easily defendable. Okay, g5. Probably takes. And he can't do anything with 20 seconds, but I would have liked to finish the game differently, but let's do it like this. I mean, he's probably very close to draw territory, but yeah, what's he gonna do? Actually, now slightly worse, but okay, he can't really do anything with the time situation, and if he does, congrats to him. I'll go here and attack this pawn. Take your pawn. Oh yeah, he's 0.1 seconds, so should we be take here? Okay, I'll take a flag. Okay, not ideal. I would have liked to have the game more clean in a way, but sometimes you have to be practical. And these, why do I always mess this up? Okay, so this board I get rid of. Okay. So the opening is quite normal. Well, this bishop d2 line is it's quite easy to understand. So it looks attractive, but I actually think it's quite easy for black to play a castle. And there's f4. Now I sort of like to keep the structure like this. Queen b6 seems to force, you know, if you're not experienced, it seems to force c3, and that's what many people play. But it's better to have a knight on d4. So long castles or knight f, long castles to protect this, and then knight f3. I think is a better approach. Play c3. Oops, sorry about that. Now take on d4. And now my feeling is black is more likely to do something on the c file, and the d4 pawn can sometimes become a target. So I play f5. I sort of like to do that because, okay, I can start with pressure immediately, but in some cases, okay, let's say here, knight f3. You know, if you allow white to build up with bishop d3, castle, etc., you always have to think about some business here on h7, stuff like that. So f5 just feels good in a way that you don't really have to worry about any kingside attack after this, and you can't really take here because rook takes f6, and now this knight doesn't have any protection, and you have to give it up. So taking en passant is not a possibility. So f5 more or less closes the kingside. So knight f3, and this is just my experience, how I feel about it. I mean, I played this a lot, and I feel like, I mean, I like the black position, and sometimes even if the position is slightly worse or equal, I mean, if you know your way around it, it's much more important. But I think my opponent played good. I played knight c8, and this kind of forces him to take. Might get my thinking was I could take on e5. Is that mistaken? Knight takes e5. It's quite a common tactic in the French that you have to know. You get in a ton of lines in the advanced variation. And the thing is, yeah, if he takes on once he takes on e5, we take on b5, and we won a pawn And I mean, if he's careless, we're just up a pawn. And this looks good, but this knight is coming as well into e4. So this is a great position for black. So after knight c8, what's a plate here? This one, he took it. Rook 8 takes on c8, he castled. Now I hope I didn't miss any tactics. I had a similar game once, which is on my channel. If I find it, a link to it, because it was a good lesson. So rook 8 to c1. And I double the rooks, which is quite logical. And now if he were to play a blank move, he played rook c3. But let's say a3. I think now I'm threatening to take on d4. Yeah, well, the computer figures it out, minus a gazillion. So yeah, if you take on c7, I will stick a fork in you. Just take here, double attack, take the queen. With the, you know, drunk arrows, but I'll take the queen. And if you were to take on d4 with either piece, well, queen takes, I just take with jack. And then I take here with my doubled rooks. Caca, caca. But if you take with the knight, then I use the force on c1. Use the force, Luke. And then I take on d4. You want a pawn. King moves, we close the c file. Well, black should be winning. So rook c3 is a good move. He avoids this tactic. And now I need to find something. And at the time I thought bishop e8 was logical. Again, if it does nothing, it just felt like he would run into potential problems after bishop h5. Because we're undermining this, but he always has this rook b3 resource that I failed to take into consideration, but this should be fine for black anyway. But he played rook b3, which looks like a fine move. Queen a5, and now he took on a5. Rook a3 makes sense to at least gain a tempo. I have to react to this. At knight c4, he will take this guy. But I could play knight p6, knight c6. And maybe I should have. The thing with knight c6 is I keep attack here. I do protect this as well. And maybe next I play bishop h5. Then he has to worry about this. And then I can take over the c file. So I think black is very, very slightly better. But like I said, yeah, these kind of positions, I don't think black is worse, so that's why I like them. And I tend to know my way around them a bit better. So b6, I should have played knight c6, so bishop a6 now. So now I lose slight control over the c file. And he started to make some noise here, knight g5, bishop f7. Yeah, maybe you can do something with b4, but yeah, b6 was probably the mistake. Should have played knight c6, and I have a, you know, kind of a micro advantage. But here, I think this should be just equal. I don't think I can lose really, but I can't really claim much. I went with g5. I mean, if I don't want to lose, I just don't do anything. Keep the pawn or play g6, play knight c4. Can't lose this, but it's really hard to win without a mistake from white. Yeah, actually white is probably slightly better after g4. But he had no time, so it's really not interesting. It's just a rook endgame that, well, it should be drawn, but maybe I made a mistake here actually. I think allowing c4 was a mistake somehow. King f5, c4. Yeah. I just saw this idea. Okay, I didn't realize. I was afraid of these pawns, but get a tempo here on the rook. And then I can check it. Yeah, he has some problems here. You know, the rook has to move, and then I can win the d pawn on the 8th pawn. Probably the d pawn is the best. Okay. But all in all, I mean, I was happy with the game. No problems, and you know, let's keep it in the 2400s. I feel like I should be there. That's where I was, and that's where I want to be. So you know, in the interest of not keeping this too long, let's cut it off. And I thank you for your attention. See you in the next one.